Okay, continuing on to lesson 1, connecting another machine to RDP. Through RDP, step 18. Now remote desktop connections have been enabled on the remote machine, and we should be able to initiate an RDP session. Return to the Windows 2K8 R2 Internal 1 machine by clicking on its icon in the lap topology diagram. If necessary, we open Remote Desktop Connection Program as outlined in Step 3 above. So you can easily move to Internal 1 through the tab, but just to review, you can also do it through the topology as instructed by clicking on the topology tab and then clicking on the machine you want to connect to, and in this case it is the Internal 1 machine. It'll open up the tab for you and then connect. And as you can see, I already have the remote desktop connection still open from the last time. It says in the computer text box, enter the IP address 192.68.12.11 once again and click the connect button. It looks about right here. Looks in order, so we're going to go ahead and click connect. And now we have a login screen in step 20. It says you should be prompted to enter your credentials, username and password to connect to the remote machine. If necessary, type administrator for the username and password for the password and click OK. And password is spelled very uniquely. We can already see that administrator is already on the top of the screen. So in the password field, we're going to type in capital P, Shift 2 for the @ sign, lowercase ss, lowercase w, 0 for the O, lowercase r, and lowercase d. And then we're going to hit OK. The following window will appear at the as the computer attempts to connect, which we see. Step 21 says after a brief period, the following certificate warning will appear and you will be prompted to proceed with the connection. And go ahead and click yes. So we're going to wait till this connects to make sure we do get that prompt. Okay, finally, we got that screen up. I'm going to go ahead and select yes as indicated before. And then it says the connection to the remote computer should be successful. You should notice the following tab at the top of the screen called the connection bar that indicates the IP address of the remote host 192.168.12.11. So as we're waiting for that to connect, Step 22 says to verify that we are on the remote machine Windows 2 K8 R2 internal, we're going to click the Start button, right-click on Computer, and select the properties. All right, so let's verify it. As you can see, we have this connection tab bar up on the top that does show the 192.168.12.11, showing that we are connected, but we also want to confirm it, so we're going to go to the Start button and go to Computer, right-click, select Properties, And we have the system right here that shows the machine under computer name. The system dialog window will appear, and notice the computer name, domain name, and workgroup settings area that the computer is listed as W2KAR2 internal 2. Now look at the W2KAR2 internal 2 window to see that the screen is locked. No one sitting at the remote PC can see what is being done. So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially log off of it by clicking Start. I'm going to close these windows. We're going to hit Start, and then the right arrow to the right of the log off and disconnect. And as you can see, we're back at the W2K8R2 internal 1 screen. We're no longer on the remote session because you no longer see the connection bar up on the top. Now note RDP and the OSI model and how it's involved in this. Most of the functionality of the remote desktop protocol RDP occurs at the presentation 6 layer. Layer 6 of the OSI model, the presentation layer, deals mostly with how data is presented to the applications running at layer 7, the application layer. The presentation layer handles the delivery and formatting of data that is passed to the application layer for display. Generally speaking, RDP running at layer 6 is responsible for the delivery and formatting of the data that will be presented to the remote desktop connection program running at the application layer. In conclusion, Remote Desktop Protocol RDP is used to establish a connection to a host by which the remote user may remotely control the destination machine. RDP is a Microsoft proprietary protocol used on Windows-based PCs only, and it's part of Microsoft's terminal services. Now here are some review questions. Review question 1. What protocol handles a terminal service connection to a Windows-based PC? And that would be the protocol RDP, port number 3389, which is the default, or I should say the common port that you can use. You can also change this in the registry if you want a little more security. Question 2, when you establish a connection at a remote host using remote desktop connection, what appears at the top of the screen that lets the user know they are connected to a remote machine? Now, if you recall, we got this little bar at the top that had the IP address. That is called the connection bar. Question 3, at what layer of the OSI model does RDP primarily function? Well, just before we went through the conclusion, we were talking about layer 6, the presentation layer of the OSI. It essentially is the layer responsible for how information is displayed and presented to the user. That concludes lesson 1. Please join me for other videos for lesson 2 and 3.